Open Diggy. I checked my phone. 10:47 p.m. I remember being confused about the timing, but also relieved. I'd get the groceries, head home. Maybe my mom would feel better and things would be less tense around the house. I went inside. The store was exactly what you'd expect. Aisles of canned goods, a produce section, fluorescent lights humming overhead. It was completely empty of customers. No other people inside at all. There was a man behind the counter, older, maybe 60s, with gray hair. He was reading a newspaper and didn't look up when I came in. I grabbed a cart and started looking for the items on my mom's list. Everything was normal. The prices seemed reasonable. The products were recognizable brands. But there was something off about the store itself. The layout didn't quite make sense. The aisles weren't quite straight. They seemed to angle slightly in ways that made it hard to judge distances. I'd walk down what I thought was a short aisle, and it would take much longer than expected. The lighting was very even and very bright, with no shadows, which made it almost impossible to judge depth. I found most of what I needed. I was looking for cinnamon. My mom wanted cinnamon, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I went back and forth through the baking aisle 3 times. It wasn't there. I decided to ask the man at the counter. I went up front with my cart. The man looked up from his newspaper. He was still reading it, I realized. The same page. He looked at me with a completely neutral expression. I asked him where the cinnamon was. He didn't answer. He just stared at me for a few seconds, then pointed behind me, pointed deep into the store, toward the back. I thanked him. He didn't acknowledge that, and went back to look. There was a back section I hadn't noticed before. Or maybe I hadn't forgotten. The aisles were even more confusing back there. The light seemed dimmer, though that doesn't make sense given how bright the rest of the store was. I found cinnamon on a shelf. It was the right brand, the right size. I grabbed it. When I got back to the front, I had maybe 6 or 7 items. The man rang them up without speaking. The total came to $31.47. I had $40. When I handed him the money, he gave me change. $9.53. I remember calculating it in my head as he counted it out, and the math was wrong. It should have been $8.53. He gave me $9.53. I didn't say anything. I was 15 and awkward and didn't want to correct an adult. I just took the money in the bags and left. Outside, Archer Street was dark and quiet. No cars. No people. I walked home and gave my mom the groceries and the change. She asked me where I went. I told her Archer Market. She gave me that same confused look, but she took the groceries and didn't ask again. I didn't think about the store much after that. Life moved on. My parents eventually worked things out. We fell back into normal routines, but I kept noticing small things. Once or twice a week, I'd remember the store and think about looking for it again. I never did. I actually went out of my way to avoid that street. Last year when I was home from college, I was talking to my mom about old memories, and I brought it up. I asked her if she ever found out about that grocery store on Archer Street. She looked at me for a long moment, and then she asked me a question. She asked me if I still had the change from that night. I didn't. I'd spent it years ago. She seemed almost relieved by that answer. Then she told me something. A month after I went to that store, she decided to go herself. She wanted to see it, she said. She drove down Archer Street on a Saturday afternoon. It was empty. Just an empty lot. She went back 3 more times. Always empty. She mentioned it to her friend Carol, who lived in the neighborhood, and Carol asked her what she was talking about. Carol had lived on Archer Street for 15 years and said there had never been a grocery store there. My mom asked me if I remembered exactly what day I went. I didn't. I told her it was early to mid-October, around 11 at night. She went quiet, and then she told me that Carol's son had gone missing in mid-October 1999, 20 years before I was born. He was 15 years old. He'd been walking home from a friend's house late at night. He was never found. I didn't know how to respond to that. I still don't, really. I've never gone back to Millbrook. I live in the city now. And I've never spent that $9.53 by some weird logic that I can't quite explain to myself. It's still in a drawer in my apartment.